Hello, my friends, and welcome to another fine episode of the AI Show. My name is Seth Juarez, and we are coming to you. This is live. It's so good to be here on this fabulous Monday morning. Where is everybody coming from? Just put it right in the chat. I'm looking side-eye to the chat. Side-eye. We've got a fabulous show for you today. Chock full of amazing things. I'm pretty excited about it. In fact, let me share my screen here. We'll have a little chats about what it is that we're talking about today. Today, we have not one, but two shows for you. TTS Avatar with Senyu. So make sure you get your questions up for him. And then number two, advanced TTS Avatar with Andreas. Good dude. He's from Germany, actually. So I'm sorry he's up at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like 4 or 5 p.m. He should be out, but instead he's here because he's awesome. But before we get there, a couple of cool things that I want to talk about. Just some announcements here. Number one, there is a fabulous Microsoft Mechanics Azure AI Studio episode. Yours truly got to be in it. So go check that out at aka.ms Azure AI Studio forum at Azure AI Studio Mechanics. So go check that out. I'll remind you that at the end of the show. So just a reminder. And the second thing I want to talk about is an in-person event. In person. I'm going to a couple of them. It is called the Microsoft AI Tour. Take a look at this goodness. Look how happy he looks to be going to the Microsoft AI Tour. This could be you. This could be you. Look how much they're learning. Look. She's like, what is all of this? Some of the stops include San Francisco. That's the earliest one. I'm going to that one. I might be participating in the keynote there. San Francisco, USA, January 11th. Click this register today button. There's one in New York, Mumbai. This is for decision makers. So there's a developer version and a decision maker version. There's one in Sydney, Australia, Tokyo, Japan, Paris, France, Sao Paulo, Brazil, Seoul, South Korea. There's a couple that already have it. And there's a couple of other ones. So stay tuned. I get to go to some of them. I think there's one in India besides this one that may be happening. So I'm going to some of them. So if you want to meet in person, this is our opportunity. Wow, let me fix my hair a little bit. This is our opportunity to get together. Maybe even do some AI shows remotely. We did one once with Hank, and maybe we should do that here. Since it'll be a different time zone, we could do it like at 8 in the morning, wherever we are. So there's that. So make sure to go to envision.microsoft.com, and register today. The one January 11th is happening in 1 month from today. So those are the two announcements. Number one, the Microsoft AI Tour. I'm going to be there in person for a couple of them. And then also make sure to check out Microsoft Mechanics Azure AI Studio episode. And there may be another one coming out as well. There's a couple of them. So go check that out today. Let me know what you think. It's a little different delivery for me. Everyone knows I'm extemporaneous. So, yeah. All right. And with that, let's talk to Senyu. Senyu, you ready to go, buddy? He's ready. So let me remove my screen here. And let's get Senyu up here. How you doing, buddy?
Excellent. How are you, Seth?
Fantastic. TTS Avatar. So we recorded this just last week. Like, I think was it Thursday? Was it Friday? It was Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
And let me show you all the amazing people that are here, Senyu. We have people from Toronto. Look at that. There's say Jason, and we have someone from Austin.
Oh,
Um,
Austin. Very nice.
Austin,
Howdy.
Texas. Yeah, yeah. Athens, Greece.
Oh, good afternoon.
I know. Senya, where are you from? You look like you're from Orange County or something,
I'm
California.
from Texas as well, Dallas.
Oh, I was close. I was
Yeah,
close.
very close.
Germany, India, India. Hello, a couple of people from India. Beautiful place. Goa, India. Athens, Greece. Bangalore, Bengaluru. Lovely place. Okay, so how about this? How about we play this episode, and then are you okay? Stick around for questions.
Yeah, perfect.
Alrighty, let's do it. This episode today is amazing. So let me play it right now. But I need to mute myself. So here. You're not going to want to miss this episode of the AI Show where we talk all about AI solutions with TTS Avatar and Azure OpenAI with my friend Senyu. Make sure you tune in. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the AI Show where we're talking all about AI solutions with TTS Avatar and Azure OpenAI, a two-parter with my friend Senyu. How you doing, Senyu?
Yeah, very good. How are you, Seth?
I'm great. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so usually I say my name is Sen Yu. It's very nice to meet you. So I'm part of the Azure AI platform team. So my role is to drive the go-to-market and also adoption of some of the Azure AI services. So one of them is TTS Avatar. So I also do document intelligence as well as Azure Computer Vision.
Oh, that's amazing. So why don't you tell us? I put your slides up. Why don't you tell us about Azure AI Speech, TTS Avatar?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, first of all, I mean, like many of you have already heard about the avatar for a long time, right? So usually the avatar will fall into three different categories or three different buckets. So the first bucket is the cartoon type of avatars, and this is usually the 2D or two-dimensional. If some of you have already used Microsoft Teams, right? So we allow you to create the avatars so this is through the Microsoft Mesh technology. And then the second category is the 3D. Meta-human. Some of the 3D will look more like cartoons, and some of them will look very much like humans. Some will look really sophisticated. And then the third bucket is two-dimensional real human avatar. And so this is where our Azure AI Speech TTS Avatar product will fall under.
I see.
Uh,
So just for clarification, this particular service falls all the way to the right, where real like human 2D models.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Let's keep going.
All right. Before I introduce the service, I just want to take you from the back, like a scene perspective, how usually the avatar can be created. What is the workflow, right? First of all, you have a body of text that you want the avatar to speak, right? It could be like a natural language text, or could be in a speech, a synthesis markup language, right? So it's pretty much like a those markup language,
Mhm.
and then the text will come into a module called the text analyzer. What the text analyzer does is basically putting the text into phonetic sequences. And the phonetic sequences can be further feed into the downstream. So the next step is doing the audio synthesis, right? This is where our text to speech and also custom neural voice, like a model will come in to actually do the audio synthesis. So once the audio part is finished, the next step is doing the human appearance. So that's where the real avatar piece will come in. So behind the scene, it is using the service that I'm going to introduce in a couple of seconds.
Okay, so just for clarity, this is like two different models. One is text to speech with customer voice. We've done some shows on that, but then it's also is it mapping the face to the actual words as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so we have the technology called the lip sync, right? So basically, we make sure that the lip will actually sync with the language that the avatar will be speaking.
This is amazing. Can you show us how it works?
So the service, the official name is called Azure AI Speech, text to speech avatar service. This is under our Azure AI speech portfolio. So we have two different offerings. The first offering is called the pre-built avatar, and then the second offering is called a custom avatar. So pre-built avatar is basically we have a couple of pre-built avatars already ready for you to use out of the box. And then custom avatar is where you can actually build your own avatar. Usually we require like a 10 minutes or more videos from you. And we do have instructions like for you how to record those videos to make sure like it has the best results. And so the avatar is triggered by two different ways. One is the text input, the other is the audio input, right? So if you prefer not to use your microphone, you can just simply type the text and then feed into the avatar. So like I mentioned, behind the scenes is using our like a text, a high quality neural text to speech model, as well as the customer neural voice model. So the avatar operate in two different modes. One is the batch mode, the other is the real-time streaming modes. So for the real-time, think of that as a two-way communications, right? While batch mode is a one-way communication, where the avatar will speak to you. You cannot interact with the avatar. So if you think about the real-time avatar, it's best used for the customer service, the live chatbot scenario. So, for example, you can build a chatbot for a travel website with the avatar like a user interface and like or virtual sales in a live commercial environment, right? So, AI teachers who teaches online at the same time can also answer questions through the avatar, and then you can even build like a virtual HR to answer questions from employees. And then the batch mode, which is a one-way communication, right? So think of that as a training video, right? So like you have a training video of an hour, the avatar will be conducting the training video.
Hmm.
And then also you could use a batch mode for a conference speech, and then for any leaders like CEOs, for example, doing a town hall, right? And then you could also use the batch mode for like advertisement purpose as well.
So tell me a bit about using this responsibly.
So we take like a Microsoft responsible AI principles very seriously. Because you can think of many use cases. Sometimes some of the use cases could be used in the wrong hands, right? So we do have like a gating process. The two offerings, the pre-built versus custom avatar, you do not need a gating form to use the pre-built avatar. But if you want to build your own custom avatar, we do require. So you go to like an online form, right, and then fill that out. Once you do, so we're going to review use cases, and then we'll get back to you.
I'm so glad. Just if we could spend a second on this, I'm I'm glad you're like, hold on, Seth, we got to do this responsibly, because I was all like, all right, let's do this. And so what you're saying is that nobody can just upload videos of people randomly and then have them say stuff. You
That's
have to
right.
go through an entire process, and it's vetted. And if people violate the terms, are they is it removed, or tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, we definitely. So if so first of all, we have a list of approved use cases, like I mentioned earlier, right? So for the live chatbot, the customer services, or like a streaming scenario, like a town hall learning, right? So if the use cases, the user has fall into those categories, we can approve of those use cases. But if it's not, like we cannot approve. And then of course, it's an ongoing basis. We have to make sure that you actually comply. What you showed in the application form.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so now I'm excited. Thank you for taking through the journey. I'm excited to see how it works. Mhm.
There are two demos I'm going to show, right? So here you can see there's like many of the capabilities from our like a speech studio. What I want to show you is one is the batch mode, right? So which is at the very end. So text to speech avatar. So if I click this, so here you can see. Now it's already loaded. We have a couple of those pre-built avatar. That means over time, we're going to add more like a gender and also ethnic diversities to our pre-built avatar selection. So for now, I'm going to select one of the avatars to show how you can just build something very quickly. So I'm going to select the second one, Lisa graceful sitting. Right. So here you can see Lisa graceful sitting is right here. There are a couple of menus here, right? You can basically switch to speech synthesis markup language mode. For now, I'll just use the pure text mode. So I'm going to enter something very simple. Here you can see, hello, my name is Lisa. Welcome to the Microsoft AI show. It's a pleasure talking to all of you, right? So once I do that, I'll just click this button, preview video. So what's behind the scene, after I click this button was basically this is sending the text right to the backend, and then using the preview avatar I've already selected. So here you can see sometimes they take 8 seconds or 10 seconds. It also depends on the length of the text. So let me just play the video here.
Hello, my name is Lisa. Welcome to the Microsoft AI show. It's a pleasure talking to all of you.
Yeah, so you can see that's the Lisa, the avatar was speaking using the text. I just typed it here. So you may notice, right? So in between, Lisa actually had a gesture, right? So what about you want to add like additional gestures? Wouldn't be nice, right? So when Lisa was introducing herself, wouldn't be nice that Lisa actually waves her hand, right? So if I put my cursor here, and then here you can see there's an insert gesture, right? So when I click, if I can scroll down a little bit, so you can see we have like a variety of gestures. That means for you to select. So I'm just going to select one of the gestures, like a wave here. So after I click that, you can see there is like a marker basically inserted in between the text, right? So now I can just do the same thing. I'm going to click preview a video, right? So so if we wait for another 10 seconds, so the avatar video will be ready. All
So
right. So
as it's getting ready, wow, that was really fast. I was going to be like, let me say something so that it doesn't look like it's taking so long, and then boom, it's done. So what you're saying is that the SSML, because I know we kind of glossed over it, allows you to inject different kinds of things into the speech, including gestures and then also voice intonation. From what I understand, is that right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
All right, so let me now play the new after video.
Hello, my name is Lisa. Welcome to the Microsoft AI show. It's a pleasure talking to all of you.
So now you can see Lisa actually waves, right? In her introduction. So this is just like a very simple example. So everything you see here is through the UI, right? So we built this UI for you to just test it out, right? So you can also select the different languages and also different voices specific to that language. And also here we provide the code, right, for the developers. So we have some Python code snippet, right? And then also there's a link to the GitHub page that you can further look into. All right, so that's
Cool.
basically the batch mode, like a demo I want to show. Seth, are you ready for the next one, which is
Yeah,
the
yeah, and
live?
that's so the batch mode makes sense to me, and it's ridiculously fast, and so that almost felt live to me. But I'm interested to see what you have cooking up for live mode because that feels harder to do. But what do you got?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go back to the speech studio. So here you can see there's a menu here, right? So it's a live chat avatar. So this is basically the UI experience we built for the user to experience how to interact with the avatars in real time. So there are two tabs here. The first tab is basically like a sample, like a video we have already pre-recorded. So in this case, it's basically using a friendly speaking style and also to be concise within like a 25 words, right? So but here, right? So I'm just going to the live mode. Let's try something live.
And this is in the studio right now. People can try this out.
Yeah, absolutely. So after I click on your own, right? So it take a couple of seconds for the avatar to load. Seth, I just like a warning, right? So there's always a risk during live demos. So let's see like how this works. All right, so there are two ways you can interact with the avatar, right? So one is through the microphone here, the other is through this chat panel. So you can just type the text into it, right? So this chat panel also shows you the entire conversation history, like when you interact with the avatar. And then later, I will show you what the setting menu means. So now let me just click the microphone and then ask a couple questions. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How can I assist you today?
Can you tell me what is the Microsoft AI show?
The Microsoft AI show is a web series that covers the latest developments and news in the field of artificial intelligence.
That's true. That's true.
Who is the host of a Microsoft AI show?
Seth Juarez is the host of the Microsoft AI show.
Wow, Seth, looks like the avatar knows about you. So let me see
Oh my
how
goodness.
much he actually knows about you. Can you tell us more about the host of a Microsoft AI show?
Sure. Seth Juarez is a seasoned AI expert, software engineer, and presenter. He has a PhD in education in the field of learning technology, and is passionate about using technology to improve education. He is a regular speaker at tech conferences, and also hosts the Channel 9 show Level Up, where he interviews software engineers, data scientists, and other tech experts.
Wow. So Seth, I'm not sure if everything he said was true, right? So, but
No,
it's amazing. So,
not everything. But so like now that I'm seeing this, is this using like GPT 3.5 Turbo in the back end somehow?
yeah, this is using ChatGPT in the back end.
So what's cool is that it's pretty close. But as I'm thinking about this, I'm like, of course, it got some things right, it got some things wrong. But the reality is that if you've seen other shows, you can probably hook up some pretty sophisticated retrieval augmented generation things in the back end so that it actually responds with grounded responses. But just this alone is pretty cool. Is there like a code? Like how does this work?
Yeah, I mean, once I do the demo, I will show you the reference architecture. I mean, how like you can do something similar, and also Seth, back to a point, right? So right now it's purely using ChatGPT. And we have a service, Azure OpenAI on your data, right? So, which means you can ground the answers using your data, right? Enterprise data, the user's data. So you're absolutely right. I mean, you can use the avatar as the user interface, and then along with Azure OpenAI on your data. All right. So are you ready to try a couple of other questions?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm already blown away. This is cool.
Can you tell us when was the first episode of a Microsoft AI show?
The first episode of the Microsoft AI show was published on July 24, 2017.
I don't know, Seth. Was that right?
That feels right. I mean, because I've been doing this show for a really long time ish,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
27, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, so 6 years.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Maybe.
Wow.
I mean, that could really literally be the case. I'll have to go look. But again, it's just using Chat GPT, right?
Yes, that's right.
So this is awesome. Can you now? Like, I know I'm pushing you here, but can I see like what this kind of looks like if to get started and the flavor of doing these kind of apps?
Yeah, so this is basically like a reference architecture so how you can implement something I just showed, right? So at the front end, this is basically you can use the microphone or using a text input, and then for the UI, there's this orchestrating layer, right? So basically, orchestrating between the backend services from Azure AI. There's a speech to text service, right? So basically transcribe. I mean, so what I just said into text and then feed it into the backend, which in this case is actually ChatGPT. And then the ChatGPT will respond back. And by the way, so we also have the options how to limit the responses from ChatGPT, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes you want those verbose responses. Sometimes you just want concise responses. And then once the output is back to the text to speech module, you can see here the avatar, right? So basically, it's inside the text to speech module. Basically, making sure that means the avatar, the lip sync, right? That means will sync with the language the avatar will be speaking, and then get all the way back to the UI. So this is like a very a high level, like a reference architecture.
So this is amazing. Uh, you kind of blew my mind, and I know I kept asking you for code, but I think we're gonna do another episode where we actually get into actual like code level stuff. Where can people go to find out more if they want to get started with this?
Yeah, so I mean, folks can just go to our Azure documentation site, right? I mean, we have a lot of different documentations. We also have a blog post that we can post online as well. So that blog post was basically we announced 3 weeks ago during Ignite. And also, if you have any questions, anyone has any questions, definitely reach out to us directly through this email address, which is avatarvoice@microsoft.com.
Avatar voice at Microsoft.com. Thank you so much for being with us, Senyu.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Seth. It's a pleasure being here.
Also awesome. And thank you so much for watching. We're learning all about AI solutions with TTS Avatar and Azure OpenAI with my friend Senyu. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you.
How about them apples? That was amazing, dude. How you doing?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, it's interesting to hear my own voice again. So
I know I can't stand looking at myself in video, Senyu, but you should be very proud of anything you do. All right, so let's take a look at some of the comments. Looks like there aren't any questions. As you watch the video afterwards, is there anything that you feel like you should add after what we've said?
yeah, I think yeah, one thing that I didn't mention was probably about the custom avatar. Yeah, so there'll be a lot of folks interested in creating their own custom avatar. Yeah, we do have documentation how to create your custom avatar. First of all, you will need to go to through a gating form. Once we approve your use cases, right? So there is an instruction we'll send you, right? So where you will need to record like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of video, like how to make sure the background, right? I mean, like everything. And then once we do, the current process of making a custom avatar is manual. But that means over time, right? So we're going to make like this process automatic. So basically, we're going to create the avatar for you using the videos you have, and then we'll deploy in your own accounts. And then basically, you can play the same avatar just like you use the pre-built avatars.
So there might come a time, friends, when I'm just gonna send you like some AI show episodes, and then I don't even have to show up. I just like type the text, and then it will be Avatar Seth. Can we do that? What do you think, Senyu?
Yeah, it's very possible. So yeah, but we do take responsibility very seriously. So before I actually record your like avatar, Seth, yeah, so we'll need to get consent from you. So.
Nice. See, and I love. Like, by the way, obviously this technology is awesome. However, it is rife. There could be issues if people do this without consent. So I love that you're like, yes, Seth, but it needs to be done ethically. All right. So here's some question. Here's a question from Eric. Let's see here. Let me turn this up. As we get better ChatGPT models or even better TTS Avatar models, do you envision them being swappable?
Uh, yeah, so I'm not sure if I understand the question. Swappable. So the avatar service is part of a TTS, text to speech. It is a module that basically design the human appearance, including the lip sync. So behind the scene, remember that the reference architecture, right? So behind
Mhm.
the scene, we have the ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is actually the backend. So it's actually interactive with each other. I want to say they're swappable, but they're part of the whole reference architecture.
Which makes sense. So in theory, yeah, they kind of are swappable in the sense that like you have this avatar service that you can give text and then you can give intonation with SSML, etc. But we're going to talk a little bit more about the customization next in a little bit. Here's another question. Any questions on how this will be? Any hints on how this will be charged?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, there was some delay. I mean, for us to announce the pricing. I mean, it was supposed to be on the Azure communication page, but I mean, yeah. So for the custom avatar, there was a cost to actually build the avatar. So the cost is about like a $2,000,
Uh huh.
and then there's also the cost of actually running the cover avatar per minute. For the pre-built avatar, yeah, so I have to check. I mean, it's $2 per minute when you run the pre-built avatar.
That's awesome. Okay, can custom avatars also have gestures?
That's right. So when you record the video that we can use to create your custom avatar, we do have instructions, right? So if you want that gestures to appear in your avatar, so you will need intentionally to make those gestures, like what I'm currently doing. So currently we are not able to create new gestures that were not in the original video.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. So it looks like Jason's like, yeah, this is how much it costs. And Senyu just said that, but I mean, like, It's pretty cool. Here's another one. Can avatars be imported into Unity or UE5 for XR? Jason, I think we're going to start to answer this question with the next video that's coming up. And so, Andreas, you ready to come on up, bud? Thumbs up. Okay, so here's Andreas. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. What about you?
Fantastic. So, Senyu, you know Andreas. You want to give us a little hint about what he's going to talk about?
Yeah, so we've been partnering with Angela and also Christina. I mean, while we're developing the public preview. Yeah, so Angela and Christina actually they took the APIs SDKs we have. They did a lot of amazing stuff that he's going to talk about.
All right. So how about Senyu? Thank you so much for your time, bud. We'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Andreas, it's good to see you, bud. It's not the first time you've been on the show, huh?
That's true. Yeah, I think it's number 3, right?
Number 3. You do some awesome stuff, and so we're always glad to have you on. Primarily because you actually work with customers and do amazing work with them. And so anytime you're on, I just love to have you. You okay staying afterwards and answering any questions?
Yes, sure.
Fantastic. So what I'm going to do, if it's okay, I'm going to play this. We just recorded this on Thursday, so this is brand new, and their only edits I made are when I made mistakes, and so let's play it. Let's take a look. You ready?
Yes, thank you.
You're not going to want to miss this episode of the AI Show, where we talk all about advanced AI solutions with TTS Avatar and Azure OpenAI with my friend Andreas. Make sure you tune in. Hello and welcome to this episode of the AI Show. We're talking about advanced AI solutions with TTS Avatar and Azure OpenAI, part 2. If you didn't see the Senyu episode, make sure you go and look at that. How you doing, Andreas? How you doing, my friend?
I'm fine, thank you. What about you?
Fantastic. So for those who don't know you, tell us who you are and what you do.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. My name is Andreas Kopp. I'm a technical specialist for AI solutions. So I'm basically working with customers every day, designing and implementing AI solutions based on Azure.
That's amazing. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, in the previous session, you had a conversation with Senyu about the new TTS Avatar capabilities. We have built an AI solution accelerator for various AI vision use cases. And to bring this a little bit further towards, let's say, enterprise avatar solutions, we added 2 use cases to our Vision AI Solution Accelerator. The first one lets you create rich avatar videos from your content. That's use case number 1. And the second use case I would like to show is really how you can create an interactive avatar experience for a customer assistant, for example.
That's amazing. Can you tell us more about each of these? I put the slide up there so you can explain it to us.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, if it's okay for you, we can jump right into the video generation use case.
Let's do it.
If you want to create an avatar video, it all starts with a kind of talking script. So you have to provide text for your avatar to speak for you. There are 2 options. This could be, in the simplest case, it could be just a text file, plain text. However, if you have more advanced requirements for, let's say, tuning the pronunciation, working with phonemes, or adding avatar gestures, you can use the speech synthesis markup language, SSML, so you have more flexibility there. And there is actually a very nice tool in the Speech Studio, which is called Audio Content Generation Tool, where you can just scribble down your script for the avatar to speak, then convert it to SSML, and that's what you feed into the API to create the avatar video, which is step number 2. So you take your input text, the SSML or the plain text, you call the TTS Avatar API to generate the video. There you can select the character of the avatar. You can specify settings for the video format that you want to have. And this is basically the output that you get. So you get a video file with a white or transparent background, and you see the talking avatar. But that's for most solutions, of course, not sufficient, because you want to add some content, right? So you have content, you have maybe background music, and you want to combine everything into one final rich video experience. And this is where our solution accelerator comes into place. In the notebook that I'm going to show you in a minute, you have the ability to combine content video or content image with background music. So everything what you want to have for a rich final video experience. There are two ways to do it. One is if you want to do it in a more, let's say, automated fashion, you can use the FFmpeg tool for automated combination of those assets. Or if you want to have more, let's say, flexibility, a more intuitive way to do it, you can use a video editor like Clipchamp, for example.
So
And then you get your final result. Sorry.
No, that makes perfect sense. So just a couple of questions. So when you're using SSML to create speech, it's creating audio and it's also creating video. But those two things, are they separate or are they put together?
Oh, that's a very good question. So they are actually separate things that are combined by the API, which means you can have your avatar and select a voice, which can be one of the neural voices that we provide, but it also can be the voice of the actual person. So if you have a custom avatar, for example, so you could, for example, create a video of yourself and also train your own voice. It could be one experience. So it would be Seth, the avatar of Seth with his voice, but it could also be another voice. So it's two services, but in the API they are combined. So the end result is your talking avatar. So it speaks with this one of the neural voices, and of course you get all those gestures.
And that's also, it's basically you're creating speech, and then the speech gets created into a video, but that video has a plain background, and there's some work that we need to do to make that video be part of our assets, and that's what the second two other parts are doing. Is that right?
Exactly. So then let's quickly check out the notebook. This is, by the way, our accelerator. So there is one notebook end to end which guides you through the process of creating such a video. And you see it's a relatively straightforward service. So all you need is a speech resource. So it's the TTS speech service, which also supports the avatar generation now. And here you can select a project folder for your video project. You can either select SSML as input or plain text. As I said, we typically recommend SSML because it's more flexible. We have a helper function which lets you download the actual video file that has been generated. And here are some examples how you can create this text input for the avatar based on the audio content generation tool. It's a very flexible, it's very convenient. And then as the result, you just extract the SSML as the input. And here also to show the flexibility of working with SSML directly. You can select the voice. That was your question, Seth, if it's different.
Right.
You can select the language. You can select the style if you want to have a shouting avatar or a whispering avatar. There is a lot of things you can do from the voice perspective, but also from the perspective of the avatar. So there are custom gestures. So for example, let's assume you want to highlight a product. So you want to point the avatar to a product. You can do that as well. So these avatar gestures are also configurable using SSML. So once we have uploaded our speaking script, here comes now the point where we actually call the API to generate the avatar. So relatively straightforward. Here we select which avatar we want to have. So there are built-in avatars that come with the service. You also have the ability, as I mentioned, to train your own avatar. Then you would switch the character name to your own avatar. And then you can configure things like which video format do you want to have. Here it's WebM because we want to have a transparent background for the content that we want to add, etc., etc. So here you can configure the settings. Then the avatar video is synthesized. Then here it's finally then downloaded to your local project folder. And here comes then the second part. This is the value of our solution accelerator here. We are assuming you have a content image or a content video. So there are some explanations how you can turn a PowerPoint presentation into a high resolution video, which is then combined with this video that the avatar service has generated with a transparent background. So we can nicely fit everything together. And here are a couple of options. So I would say, for more simpler use cases where you want to automate things, you can use a tool like FFmpeg, and you can get quite geeky here. So here are a couple of examples where you say, okay, combine those two elements, add background music with reduced volume, crop the avatar and reposition it. So this it's really funny that you can do these kind of things with the command line tool, but of course it gets more and more complicated. So if you really want to have a very customized experience, probably you want to use a video editor. So there is a very simple option to use Clipchamp, for example, which is a built-in Windows video editor, which you can also use.
I mean, this is amazing. I've had to do a thing or two inside of FFmpeg. You can do a ton of stuff, and it's cool that you're showing us the actual code. But you brought an end result. Is that right?
Yeah. So in our team, one of our teammates, her name is Christina. We thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we train a custom avatar? So what Christina, my colleague, did, she recorded approximately 20 minutes of video of herself at home. So it was not a professional setup. So no green screen, no professional lighting. Usually you would go into a studio to really get a professional recording. But anyway, you will see the result in a minute. And then based on this flow here, we let Christina or her avatar explain how this flow works overall. And yeah, happy to show you the experience.
All right, let's take a look.
Hello, I am Christina. Let me show you how to create an engaging avatar video in 4 steps. It begins with a talking script for your avatar. You can get started with a text file. However, we recommend to use the Speech Synthesis Markup Language, SSML, for advanced requirements. It allows you to fine-tune the voice of your avatar, including pronunciation or the expression of special terms. Also, you can add avatar gestures like pointing to an item. The audio content creation tool of the Speech Studio provides an intuitive user interface to create an input file for the process. With your talking script ready, you can use the Azure Text-to-Speech API to synthesize your avatar video. Besides providing the SSML input, you can specify the character and style of the avatar, such as standing or sitting, and the video format. Our Jupyter Notebook will guide you through these steps in detail. In many cases, you probably want to add a content video with text, illustrations, animations, etc. to the final avatar video. Our toolset guides you on exporting an animated PowerPoint presentation as a high-resolution video for this purpose. Finally, you combine the avatar video, content, and optional elements like background music to compose a rich video experience. This can either be done using the FFmpeg tool or a video editor like Clipchamp for more control. Using a video editor provides an intuitive way to fine-tune the timings of the video and adding effects and animations. We can't wait to see what you will create.
Well, that was really cool. And that's your actual colleague, right?
Yes, yeah, that's Christina.
That's amazing. So here's a question, because that's really cool. I now I know how to make my own text, put into SSML, generate a video. But is there a way to do like interactive experiences as well?
Yes, and that brings me to the second use case, which is how to create an interactive avatar app experience. So you can imagine a use case like we want to provide a service for customers or citizens or employees. So there are where I, as a customer, am able to ask questions about product, for example, or maybe even trigger business processes, right? Like checking my order status or even ordering a product. So I think there is a broad range of use cases. We also have an first customer in Germany, which is Commerzbank. It's one of the biggest
Mhm.
banks in Germany. And they were also featured at the Ignite conference 2 weeks ago, where this feature was introduced. And they are working on exactly this, I would say, application pattern for a virtual banking assistant. So, and in our repo, you have the code. So in our case, it's an auto gear shopping assistant, which you can reuse. I would like to show you the architecture first because
Yes.
it's quite comprehensive. So it's not only the avatar service. So the idea is you can speak to the avatar. So you have the speech to text service so that you speak to the avatar in natural language. It responds to you in an interactive fashion. So you see the avatar is talking to you. But we also want to have this backend integration, right? So we want to be able to answer questions about products. So there is Azure AI Search, which triggers vector search if I'm asking information about products. But I also want to support business transactions like show me my account status. I want to order a product, or what's my how many loyalty points do I have? So it's a quite complex, this retrieval augmented generation pattern that we talk about now for months with Azure OpenAI, plus the avatar service. And the interesting thing in this context here is that we are using OpenAI, Azure OpenAI function calling to do the orchestration. We are using Azure OpenAI function calling to understand from the conversation with you, what's your intent? So what do you want to do? So you want to have questions about a product, or you want to order a product, or you want to check your account status. So the large language model understands your intent. It has a set of functions. These are actual Python functions, and it knows when to trigger those functions based on your intent, which makes it a very, I would say, flexible and scalable end-to-end solution with the avatar as a front end.
That's really cool. Can you show us how it works?
I can show you how it works. So it's a quite complex application. So we have a JavaScript front end, and we have this Python backend with those function calling capability. In the interest of time, I would suggest maybe focusing a little bit on the backend because it's quite interesting and also
Yeah.
reusable for other use cases. So if I go to VS Code here once again, I can show you how we are leveraging function calling. As I mentioned, in this context, in this application, we have 4 functions, so 4 tools, if you will, that the LLM is aware about, and the LLM can actually trigger or suggest to trigger using those functions. And all you need to do is, on the first hand, you have to explain the LLM in natural language which functions are available and when to call them. And this is here on the left-hand side. So for example, we support a question like, how many bonus points do I have, or how many loyalty points do I have? So based on just this simple description here, the LLM is able to figure out, okay, now I want to call this function. It's if Seth, for example, asks for his bonus points. And then, of course, we also want to support input parameters. So here in this use case, it's important that we also provide the account ID, so the ID of the customer, as a function parameter. So we have to specify this as well, similar to what's the status of my order. And then there are also more complex functions. So when you order a product, you have to provide more information, so more parameters. So we have the account ID once again, but we also want to specify which product to order,
Right.
how many to order, and then we also trigger a search, for example. So what you see on the left-hand side, so this JSON structure is just to explain the model, which functions are there in natural language, so it is able to understand when to call them. And on the right-hand side, you see the actual Python orchestration code. So when we are calling the LLM, that's the typical conversational flow that we use with ChatGPT, for example. So you have the messages input. So the question of the user, do you have a 10 for two people? We specify this functions definition, so the LLM is aware of it. And we also let the LLM decide automatically if a function should be called or not. Then, of course, we need to have a mapping between the functions that we defined here in natural language and with the actual Python functions. They are specified a little bit below. We will see them in a minute. But here, our code now knows, okay, if the LLM says, call this function, then this Python function is actually called. Here we get the name of the function, we get the function arguments, and this here is then the magic line where the function, the Python function, is actually executed.
Right.
Here, if I scroll down a little bit below, we get a return from the Python function, like you have 500 loyalty points, or yes, I have triggered an order for you. So we get a response from the function. This response gets back to the model so that the user gets the information, okay, I have ordered the product for you, for example. And then finally, at the end, you see the actual function. So we have a helper function to execute a generic SQL query because we are using Azure SQL, and then you can see them side by side. So here is the definition of the get bonus points function, and here's the actual Python code, which is then called. Same for get order details or finally order product. And that's it. And that this, from my perspective, this is very, very flexible. It's very scalable. Of course, also beyond avatar use cases. So
Yeah.
that's a very powerful pattern.
So this is using just standard OpenAI function calling, and
Exactly.
then you're hooking up the function calls that it thinks it should do, passing in the parameters, and then going to town. How does this link up to the avatar, though?
Yeah, so there is a front end application. So it's a JavaScript code. And here we are using the speech SDK for
I see.
JavaScript to connect to the avatar service. And then these are, let's say, this is backend functionality that is then called when needed. And we also have a demo where you see one of my colleagues talking to this service, using the service. And if you look very closely, you can find out from the context of the conversation which function is called because you have seen them here. And
Right.
also maybe you pay close attention what happens when my colleague switches the language from English to German, how it automatically responds it, translates everything, even though all content is only in English. So there is no German content in the knowledge base, for example.
Well, that's awesome. Let's see what it does. Let's play it.
Hello, my name is Lisa. How can I help you?
How many bonus points do I have?
You currently have 406 bonus points, which have a cash value of $42.74.
Tell me about my order status.
You have 2 orders. The Slumber Drifter is expected to be delivered on October 30, 2023, and the Serve Master Pro is expected to be delivered on October 29, 2023.
Haben Sie Wanderschuhe für Damen?
Ja, wir haben Wanderschuhe für Damen. Unsere somit Stride Wanderschuhe bieten hervorragende Unterstützung, Komfort und Stil für anspruchsvolle Wanderungen. Sie sind aus hochwertigem Leder gefertigt, wasserdicht und bieten eine robuste Sohle für eine zuverlässige Traktion. Mit elegantem Design und Nachhaltigkeitsfokus sind sie die perfekte Wahl für Outdoor-Abenteuer. Yes, we have the Elysian Voyager, a two-person travel tent designed for comfort, durability, and portability. It features ample space for 2 adults, a dual-layer ventilated design for airflow, and a waterproof construction. It is lightweight, easy to assemble, and comes with user-friendly features like dual doors and vestibules. The Elysian Voyager is also eco-friendly and comes with a 5-year warranty.
Order it for me, please.
Your order for the Elysian Voyager tent has been placed. The expected delivery date is October 21st, 2023.
That was amazing. It was cool to see. You're basically on the front end converting the speech to text and then sending that text to this endpoint, and then it's rendering everything with the avatar on the front end. Is that right?
Exactly, yes.
That's amazing. So where can people go to find out more?
Yeah, 2 tips. The first one is take a look at our repo of the Vision AI Solution Accelerator. There are a couple of interesting use cases. The avatar ones are 2 of them. And then, of course, there is the documentation, and there's also a blog post that was just published 2 weeks ago when the capability was introduced.
This is amazing. I'm putting the links down there so folks can take a look. Well, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for watching. We're learning all about advanced AI solutions with TTS Avatar and Azure OpenAI. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care. How about them apples? That was amazing. And I got to put on the walk-off music because we're almost out of time here. But let's get some questions. Let's get some questions from some folks here. Let's see. Oh, here's a really good. It's very interesting, intelligent. It may be. We can create so many sessions and webinars to teaching solutions with this technology. Yeah, I mean, is that the kind of thing you were expecting folks to build?
Yeah, I think so. There are many applications. So in particular in education, learning stuff. So within organizations, university, I think so. Not sure if it will replace USEF, but you never know.
He's like, you never know, Seth. Okay, here's another one. The conversation that was had, it wasn't an avatar versus avatar. It was actually your colleague speaking from the front end, and then the response is coming back. Is that right?
Yeah, that was actually the core developer of the solution. That's a colleague from the Netherlands. So human to AI.
Fantastic. And then can you share the link? Absolutely. The link is actually right here. You can go ahead and take care of that. All right, that's all the questions. Andreas, thanks so much for staying with us, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you on the flip side. Hello, my friends. That has been another fabulous episode of the AI Show. Just a reminder, make sure you go take a look at the Microsoft Mechanics show about the Azure AI Studio. You can take a look at it at Azure AI Studio Mechanics. So take a look at that. And next week on the AI Show, we have a wonderful show ready for you, talking all about... oh, it's so tiny. Oh, document management with Azure AI Document Intelligence. Bema Bonsu. We're excited to have them on. So that's next week. And a reminder to finish up the Microsoft AI Tour. Make sure you go to that. The first one happening in San Francisco. I think I'm going to that one. So far, I'm scheduled for that one. And then right after that in New York, and then a couple of other cities. Stay tuned because there's other cities that I know of that are still tentative. Well, we'll stop by if you want to come and say hi. I would love it. These events are all free, of course. So make sure you are in there. Thank you so much for spending some time with us on this, the AI Show, every Monday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. And in a couple of weeks, the beginning of new year, we're going to have some new things. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. And hopefully we'll see you at the next AI Show Live. Take care.